Toby. Our beloved Heavenly Parents, we are very grateful for this bright, beautiful spring morning. Spring seems sometimes to be a long time coming in New England, and it kind of plays with us. We have warm days, and then suddenly it's frigid cold again, and truly the season of spring keeps us on our toes, Heavenly Parent, but we know that spring is coming. Even recently on a really, really cold morning, I could hear the birds singing, and the birds know that spring is coming. And so regardless of what it feels like, they're singing their song. Heavenly Parent, we know that you said long time ago, it's recorded in the Bible, that I have spoken and I will bring it to pass, I have purposed and I will do it, that your kingdom will come on this earth, that we can live in a world where there are no barriers between people, there's no great injustices between people, that truly the world can live as brothers and sisters. When we look around us, it seems like that's a really, really like pie in the sky, unrealistic daydream, and that to do that is to be a person that believes in that is sort of one that's in denial, or one that can't, it's like living in a fairy tale. And yet, Heavenly Parent, we know that in the heart of each of us, in the heart of every person, there is that longing, and there is, when given that opportunity to experience walls breaking down and hearts coming together, then people really like that, and they want to live that way. Heavenly Parent, we need to practice it more in our daily lives. We need to practice it more in our families. We need to practice that kind of life more in our community here in the Boston Family Church, so that we can be like that kind of light that our true mother spoke of when she was speaking to the CARP students. We pray for your presence with us today as we try something different, centered upon the word that our true parents spoke many years ago, but nevertheless has a great life to it today. So I really thank you for this opportunity to be here with one another, and I offer this report now in the name of the Ono family, a blessed central family. Aju. Okay, don't worry about it, you know. I had an inspiration, but maybe for the next time. It's okay for Toby. Okay, so brothers and sisters, you can now turn and face one another. You don't have to face me. Okay, and so, so this is a member-centered movement part 2. And we're going to start with something a little different called, oh, I do it this way? No? There we go. Check-ins. So, all right, now, only really all right, I guess we all have to look at it while I explain, right? Okay. So, the check-in is a chance to look at each other and to just say in a word how you're feeling. So you could say, I'm hungry. I was late for church and I didn't get to eat. I'm hungry. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm a little anxious. I'm worried because I have a test tomorrow, or whatever. Just a short word, doesn't need to be a long explanation. Okay, so we're going to share that. And when each of us is speaking, we want to give our full attention to each other, so you can listen with your eyes and your ears and your heart. Create that subject-object relationship. Then you're going to share what I'm grateful for. You guys want to find a seat? You come find a seat. So what you're grateful for, it could be big or small. It could be, I'm grateful that I had a scone for breakfast instead of, we stopped at Starbucks for breakfast. Or it could be anything. There's no rules to this where you have to say, like, I'm grateful for the blessing, or I'm grateful to be, it doesn't have to be that way, okay? Just like really what you're feeling in this moment. And then, what is the top concern you have right now in your life? What's a top concern? So again, it can be something at school, at home, your job, whatever. And so these are the questions. How am I feeling now? What am I grateful for? What am I most concerned about? And you can take a moment, because each one of us is going to share that in 90 seconds. Now, it seems like short, but it's not really that short. So can the facilitators at each table raise their hands? Make sure we end up with a I think we might, okay. So they're going to be your timekeeper and your, oh, Pilar just gave Andre the job. All right, so are you ready? So face one another. Take a moment, look at that, and then, so I think we have eight people per table, and you can start. Did you enjoy that? Did you learn something about your brothers and sisters that you didn't know? Yeah, I learned I need to pray for someone who has a performance review coming up. I need to pray that another family can win the lottery to fix the heating system in their house. So, it's good. I learned another sister is so concerned about helping with matching and blessing. So I think we don't have time to hear. Ideally, we'd hear from all the tables, but I didn't really manage the time well enough. So we'll just move on now. So now that we've kind of shared with each other, what's going? Is it? I'm trying to get to. Can you just do it, the reading? It's not. So can everybody get this? There we go. This speech in front of you. We read that. Actually, I used that for Hundoke about 2 months ago, but we didn't read it individually. So I hope you noticed the color of the paper. That was intentional to get us in the mood for spring. So where's Sune and Naomi are going to come up and they're going to lead us. So what we're going to do now is, as we read, let me go to the end. During the reading, everybody has a pen, right? So you can underline something that's of interest to you, or put a star, or a question mark if you want to know something, or use brackets, or I'm just kind of being a little bit silly here, but the idea is don't just passively read, because you will share with each other afterwards some points that touched you in the reading. So I'm sorry we couldn't get it translated into Japanese in time, but in the future I'd like to do that. But for now, let's read together.
Okay. Starting out. Okay. So, all right. Here, there are people of all different races and nations and ancestries, and I am trying to mold them according to one heavenly standard. There are so many things dividing us that we have to be glued together with the love of God. Your mouth is your enemy sometimes, multiplying evil through complaint. Morning to night, there is complaint going on. Do you still think unification is an easy word? From this point of view, I want you to realize how strongly your behavior affects the person next to you. You cannot think that you are isolated individuals. Within our movement, we must feel concern for each other. Have you ever really thought about caring for your brothers and sisters? Do you miss me when I am away for many months? My teaching to you today is that as much as you miss me and Mother, you should miss each other, caring for and loving each other. Why? Because we want to enter the kingdom of heaven collectively. When the Jews came out of Egypt, instead of complaining about what Moses did, they should have been concerned about each other, and then they would not have been destroyed in the wilderness. The same is true today. Is it easy to be God? God is almighty, but even after his efforts for thousands of years, the world has remained sinful. In order to achieve his goal, God gives you the rule that you should love your brothers and sisters as much as him. Each of you should be God to each other. Treat each other as you treat God. If you live in that tradition and thousands of you come forward to God, he will embrace you as his true children. Your level of artistic achievement in spirit world will be determined by such intensity of love. There have been many people in history who said they loved God, but they mistreated and hated their own brothers. Now God really wants us to love each other and come forward to him together. Bringing America into the kingdom of heaven is the most difficult task. Be honest and confess whether you are happy you met me. If you say you are truly happy to meet me, then you are greater than I am. Sometimes I regret meeting God. It has been like grabbing a tiger by the tail. I never let go, but sometimes I wish I hadn't met God. There is no way I could let go, so I'm just hanging on to the end.
The Cain-Abel theory in Unification Church is very strong, and sometimes I worry that it is understood incorrectly. Leaders who are given responsibility sometimes have the mistaken idea that they have the sole authority, but I tell you that Abel is only able when he saves Cain. Divine principle teaches that you must love and embrace Cain and then bring him to the mother. This is why the Bible says that when two or more gather to pray, then God will be in their midst. Your prayer is not powerful when you pray singly. Yeah, but only when you pray together. Brothers and sisters must truly unite so they can share life together. Today, I am declaring a new beginning. The leader-centered movement is over, and the member-centered movement is going to begin. The Unification Church is one family. I am concerned and worried about each one of you, and you should be concerned with each other as brothers and sisters, and together come to parents. What we need now is an environmental kingdom of heaven. If you only move in one direction, that is no good. You must move in 360, in all directions. My teaching today is this: as much as you love God and true parents, you should love the world and unite with it. Don't shy away from adverse conditions or from smelly or ugly brothers and sisters. They are the ones who need you. Willingly participate in the dirty places and make them fragrant. Don't run away from problems, but face them and conquer them. God feels greater joy when he sees that you love each other more than you love him. Parents want to see their children loving each other more than they love their parents. Our ultimate goal is Canaan. When we were marching toward Canaan, our supreme duty is to follow orders, but once we enter Canaan, we don't live by commands but by love. This is that time. We are arriving now, and we must live in a godlike way. I am teaching you that you should love one another as much as you love God and true parents. Then the dwelling of God is with you, and Mother and I shall be with you. My mandate to you is to unite among yourselves. Where you can do that, the dwelling of God shall be with you. Can you do it? During the Exodus, it is a virtue to focus on following the leader, but when you enter Canaan, you live by the give and take with brothers and sisters. From today on, our membership around the world shall perfect that way of life. Even if I am not there, it should not matter. You already know the secret of going to heaven loving each other. At night, you should think that you are a parent to someone. Pick someone to care about the next day, and the following day to pick another person. It doesn't matter whether he is younger or older. The cardinal rule is to forget yourself. He will give sacrificial love and talk about our position, not my position. Have a love competition among yourselves. It doesn't matter whom Mother or I love most, but who is the king of loving brothers and sisters? Who loves me? I know your love is real, so now pledge to me that you will love your brothers and sisters more than you love me. That will please me more than your love for me.
Okay, so now you want to, in your groups, just take a moment to look at the paper and kind of rate whatever you marked. 1, 2, and 3, like not in order of preference, but just these are 3 points that kind of spoke to me. And go ahead and do that. I'm going to ask that in your group, then you just share for 1 minute. And you can do something called popcorning, which is maybe the facilitator will start and share what point was specifically spoke to them or they felt was significant. And then they can choose someone at the table to speak next. You don't have to just go around the circle. It's like popcorn, popcorn, you never know where it's going to go. So you have to be ready to speak at any moment. So go ahead and you can start now. We'll take 10 minutes for this exercise, so it's a little over a minute per person. So would somebody like to just volunteer from their table? Appa. My husband's excited. Maybe can we just, we're kind of behind, but I'd like to hear, would someone from a table like just to share something of what inspired your table? How about Pilar's table? We heard a lot of laughter coming from over there. Yeah. Why don't you stand up, Pilar, so we can see you?
So it's just a great discussion in our table because everyone has a lot of things. Oh my God. Yeah, our table is like just the flow of the conversation is just very natural going, nothing nothing is special. I was just sharing to them how all the what ifs, like what if we didn't meet the principle, what if God didn't give us the responsibility to become part of this church, and all kinds of possibilities. But then again, if we think about it, we're still the luckiest of all because we know where we're heading and we know the divine principle and who true parents are. So all the what ifs and like the comparison to other people who have everything, fancy house, fancy cars, fancy, like everything. But you feel like when you communicate with them, there's all kinds of emptiness because it's nothing beyond all those external things. So, which is, what we have. We know how God feels about us and we know how we have to live our life.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody else want to share, like from this speech? Anything? Another table? Come on, you guys. Okay. Oh, wait. Who's over? Wait. Toby. Let's.
I just want to say that I think this is my favorite thing that I've ever read.
You want to stand up? Yeah.
I just want to say that I think this is maybe my favorite thing that I've ever read that True Father has said. I just really like this. Everything in this I think is really interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
That's it.
Okay. Really short because we.
The girls here picked out a phrase: pick someone to care about the next day, and the following day pick another person. We discussed that it's not just theoretical, but we can practice it this week. Choose a person to love, and then another one, and see how the principle works, and how can we be God with somebody.
Which is the perfect segue, thank you very much, to our next. Is it on? I think he has to flip something down there. There we go. So, thank you, Irina. You just you segued right in. Thank you. So now we're going to take another 10 minutes. Sorry, my original plan was we would be done with everything by now, but we're not. So do you guys mind just if we go over a little bit? Or should we just stop and have a collection? And it's okay? I have your permission? All right, next time we'll do better. So at this time, you want to think of some action steps from this, from this speech. Father gave us some, but think of something both personal and public. So for instance, on the personal side, you can think of someone, maybe someone that you have difficulty with, or someone that's in need of something, you can pray for them. You could think of who do I need to have a kind of open-hearted conversation with, something I've been withholding, or I feel kind of angry or resentful or critical or something, try to reach out to that person. You can write a card or send a letter. And then on the public side, you can think, what can I contribute to in your family or at your job, your school, your club, your church, the larger community? Think of something specific this week. And that's what these little cards are for. So you can take a moment and write on one side, oops, sorry. What did I do? Okay. On one side, you can write your personal like kind of goal, and on the other side, something that's like what you can contribute to your family or your job, your school. Nothing huge, just something this week. And we'll take maybe 2 minutes to do that. Just a moment. Five minutes is how many seconds? 300 divided by 8. So 40 seconds each. So we're trying to do it fast. Share with your group one of your goals. So you can share with each other one of the goals that you made. If one goal is really personal and you don't want to share it, then you don't need to share that goal. If all your goals are really personal, I guess, one of them though, what you can contribute, you should be able to share that. So let's start that. Would somebody like, how about somebody from Dar's table? Can you share a goal? Can somebody from your table or?
I'll share Kimi's goal.
Okay, share Kimi's goal.
She wants to be more, deal with a coworker who's a real brat. She has so far been, that her best solution is to ignore him after a while and then kind of subside. So she's got a determination to, I don't know, give a make her or something. I don't know.
Okay, that's good. How about Yoshitaka's table? Somebody want to share a goal?
So Reverend Matthew, about having family meals together. Yes. Nice.
How big a family, Bismarck? Am I invited? Okay. How about George's table? Someone from this George's table want to share a goal? Toby's just got volunteered, I guess.
I spent all day yesterday playing board games without my wife. So today I'm going to spend all day with my wife, and I'm not going to ask her to play board games once.
Okay. Okay. So it'd be fun to hear more from everyone, but do you notice though, like just by sharing that, like we know each other's situation a little bit more. So whether or not we like sit down in front of our altar and pray for each other is one thing, but just having that awareness, you know, maybe if you heard somebody, I can like, for instance, I can text every once in a while. I'm going to text Toby now. Toby, are you like, you know, staying off the board games, or are you? Are you? Oh, okay. So, or else maybe we need to start like a board game ministry in the church so that it can become like, you know, vertically sanctioned. So, anyhow, before we end, and we'll just go right into our announcements and our collection. You'll notice in the center there's some orange cards. There's extra cards. If you could just take a moment and write down if you would like to do this kind of format again. You can just write, let's do it, or yes, I would, or, you know, and then if you would like to help, if you have some ideas, if you have ways, things of how we could improve doing it, just put your name down. Doesn't mean I'll put you in charge. Just, I'd like to create a little team of people that maybe, you know, once a month or once every couple of months, if we like this, we could do this. So take a moment, rate your experience, and then when the collection things go by, just drop that in the collection baskets.